Hi everybody, it's Az here from Heel vs Babyface on the alpha for EverQuest Next Landmark. Now, it's very easy on a game like this to get excited and consumed and just want to go straight to your claim, your plot of land that you can build on and start to construct. However, your experience will be vastly increased in this game if you choose instead to upgrade your toolset first, because when you upgrade your toolset it opens up more materials for you to farm, but it also opens up the ability to craft a new helpful tool when you're building called the selection tool. You saw me use it in yesterday's video. It's amazing. So first things first, if I'm to upgrade my stone pick, which is the basic pick which was given to me at the start, then I want to get this one, the copper pick. That's the next one that I can craft, because I can actually craft the goods. I can mine and gather these goods from my stone pick. So I need 10 of the elemental copper. I then need 1,000 plain wooden logs. Don't get scared of the number 1,000, trust me. And I also need 10 of the copper ingots to create it as well. So not a lot of maths. So this should be done relatively quickly. Now, what we have to do next is, of course, go out into the big wide world and find some seams. And you can clearly see in the background and here in front of me the copper seams. They are very easy to detect. What you do is you just go up to them, you press your whichever key you've got your pick attached to. I've got it attached to number 1, and then if you hold down the left button on your mouse, then you can just start mining and using your turn keys to just move yourself around the seam, and then you'll start to gather up the copper ore. You can see 7, 10, 12, and there you go. The elemental copper is a proc. It's a rare proc from a copper seam. So I need 10 of those. So I'd need to keep going until I've got 10 of those elemental coppers at the least, and then every 100 copper ore that you dig up, in actual fact, every 100 of any ore that you dig up, you can smelt into a bar of whatever it is. In this case, it's going to be a copper bar. Now, when you have enough of the ore that you require, what we need to do now is we now need to chop some trees down. So instead of using our pick, we change to our axe, and you can also upgrade your axe using copper. It's a very simple process to do, and it's in the axe tab when you go to the forge. Just equip it. Again, left click onto the tree, and this time slightly different to a vein. When you're mining a vein, you're physically looking at how much you can see left, so there is the potential to leave some behind if you're not careful. With a tree though, the tree has a health bar, and you're literally chopping away at the tree until the health bar has completely diminished and the tree is destroyed. Now, we needed 1,000 of the wooden logs, but you can clearly see I'm gaining lots. 23, 9, 17, 9, 11, 12. So it's not going to take too long at all. And you can also get some of this burled wood log as well. And that comes very handy later on. So always hold on to them. Again, you'll need 100 of these resources if you want to convert them into different aspects. So with the wood, you'll need 100 of this or 100 of that, and you can change it to various things when you're crafting. But that's, again, something else for another video. So we're pretty much done when it comes to this tree. There's only a tiny little bit of health left, and then what will happen is when the tree goes completely to 0, it will actually explode, which is what we need in games like this. Trees exploding when you've finished chopping them down. Now, yes, there is a sort of like a laggy element to it, but it's nothing to get stressed about. It is an alpha after all. So when you've got your mats, return to the forge. Once there, simply left click onto the forge and bring up the recipes tab. There's the copper pick which I'm looking to craft. Now, I've got 73 of the elemental copper, 4,967 of the plain wooden logs, and 10 of the copper ingots. But you don't mine the ingots, you have to craft them as well. So just scroll further down until you get to the metal tab in the recipe section, Click onto that, another sub menu appears and it shows you exactly how many of an ingot you can create. Now I've got 7,120 pieces of copper ore. I've been a busy bee. So I can create up to 71 copper ingots, and you can use the tool down at the bottom to select a number of copper ingots that you'd like to create. So if I wanted to do 6, just click it up to 6 and then press the craft button. Bingo. It crafts them. The more that you want to create, the longer it will take. But we've got enough mats now, so let's go back to the copper pick, click craft, bing. There we go. It's made one. So if I go to my inventory, there it is, the copper pick. So I've now got a resource rating of 2. It's a common pick, so I procced a green. There are various different ranks that you can proc. Can be basic, can be common, can be legendary. You never know what you're going to get when you craft. So you can craft multiple picks to see if you can proc one that's of a better quality than the one that you currently have. But this also now allows the mining of tin, tourmaline and metals of the lower resource rating. So I can still do all the copper and everything, but now it's opened me up to doing more. And I want to now craft the bronze pick. Now, to craft the bronze pick, you do need to have a copper pick in your inventory. You can see that it's actually one of the materials acquired, and I need some more plain wooden logs, some tourmaline. I also need some elemental tin. I need some burled logs, and I also need some tin ingots. So these are materials, some of them I haven't got, and some of them which I do. So we saw the burled logs, which I got from the trees as a special proc. The tourmaline we have yet to see, and also the tin veins we have yet to see. So let's head back out into the big wide world as I equip my copper pick, and we will find exactly where these materials can be located. Now, although I'm looking for tin, I've returned to a copper vein. And I'm digging up copper, so why on earth have I done this? Well, one of the cheeky aspects of the game which I really like is that some metals attach themselves to other metals, but underground. Now, this is a tier 1 world that I'm in. If you look to the top left, you can see it's basin brackets tier 1. And the worlds are built up of 3 different tiers. Tier 1 is the one that has all the basic resources that you need. Tier 2 has the intermediate resources, and Tier 3 has the pro top resources. So I'm doing all this on a Tier 1. And on a Tier 1 world, you can find tin attached to a copper vein. So I'm now going right in here. I'm just smashing away at the copper until this happens. Take a close look as I mine now. Look to the left, you can start to see another material is beginning to appear behind the copper. And yes, it's tin. You can see I'm now mining up tin ore because I've come across a vein of tin which was attached to the copper. Now, as far as I can tell, they're always there. It doesn't matter what copper vein you mine on a tier 1 world, you will always find a tin vein attached to it. And there it is down at the bottom. And once more, just like before when I was mining the copper, the elemental tin, which is also required material for the next pick, is a high quality proc from mining here as well. So I'm just going to carry on doing this until I have all the mats, and then I can return back to the trees and just chop them down until I get enough of the burled logs, the high quality logs that I can proc from the trees too. Then we can go and find the tourmaline, which is very distinctive from its purpley green colour on the floor. Very difficult to miss, which is just as well because therefore it makes it very easy to find. And once more, you use your pick and you just smack and smack away until you have as many of the items as you require. Once we got this, we now have all the materials to return to the hub and create the bronze pick. Now, you do have a slight dilemma because the burled wood planks, which you turn from burled wood logs, can't be done at a forge. It's got to be done at a lumber table. And that's something which isn't provided in the beginning hub area. So you've got a couple of options here. Now, You can use this forge to create a couple of crafting stations for yourself, and you do have the materials, or at least the capability to get materials to do so. The stone forge simply requires 10 elemental copper, 15 ingots and 2,000 stone, but the copper reinforced saw table requires 5 elemental copper, 5 tin ingots, 10 copper ingots and 2,000 logs of wood, plain wooden logs. So the materials themselves aren't very difficult to get their hands on. You can craft both of those, take them to your plot of land, drop them on, and then you'll be able to use the saw table to take care of the burled wood planks. The other option is a little bit more simple. Because the world itself is saturated in claims by other people, the chances are there's somebody actually nearby that will have a crafting table for you to use. Very much like the forge, just left click onto it, go to the wood tab, and you can see the burled wood planks, and then you just create them. Make sure, of course, you have the necessary number of mats with which to do so. But just like any good DIY video, here's one I made earlier, and I actually managed to proc a rare Swift bronze pick as well, which means it's got slightly better stats than before, and this one will now allow the mining of iron, aquamarine and metals and gems of the lower resource rating too, so that means tin, bronze, etc, etc. So we now have changed our stone pick to a copper pick and to a bronze pick, but remember, the ultimate goal of this upgrading is so that we can create the selection tool, and you'll find that in the recipes tab under the building tools section. There it is, right at the top. But this has a material that we can't farm yet. So it requires 30 elemental iron, which we can do, 10 topaz, which we can't do yet, and 30 iron ingots. So our pickaxe can get most of the materials, but not all of the materials. So we need to upgrade the pick once more, and this time we need to upgrade it to the iron pickaxe. Now, although in the recipe you don't need to have a bronze pickaxe to create this, you do need to have a bronze pickaxe because of the materials required. You need the aquamarines, which you can only get with the bronze pickaxe. We then have elemental iron, we've got plain wood logs, we've got some iron ingots. So once more, it's back out into the big wide world, and let's see where we can find these materials. The iron ore tends to be a lot darker in colour than the others, and you can easily be forgiven for thinking that it's simply stone. The only way to guarantee that it isn't is to go over there and give it a few smashes with your pickaxe. It won't take long to realise whether or not you're digging up the iron ore from the ground, and as before, you have a percentage based chance to proc a high quality elemental version of the iron as well. We do need rather a lot of that for both the selection tool creation and also for the iron pick too. So you're going to be out in the world most likely longer than you have been before. I also found that the location of the iron ore was in the barren wastelands on the outer rim of the tier 1 worlds, not inland so much. Also on the sides of the mountains too. There is also another metal attached to iron, and this time it is silver, but you can't mine it with a bronze pickaxe. There's nothing to worry about though, because there is nothing that you can get from the silver ore that will hinder you in your creation of either the selection tool or the iron pickaxe. That's going to be used for if you want to get your pickaxe any further, which you will eventually do as you want to get bigger and better and higher quality of mats. There's also a little trick here. I found if I left a tier 1 world and moved over to a tier 2 world, iron ore was in far more abundance, and also topaz is very rare on a tier 1 world. But if you go to a tier 2 world, again, it's in a more plentiful supply. But before we can even contemplate mining the topaz, we need to have the tool with which to do it, which of course is the iron pick. Now, I was on my way back to the main hub to use the forge, and thankfully I came across this person's land and they had both a lumber mill and a forge available for me to use, so I cut my build wood, and now here I can create the iron pick. So it now allows not only the mining of topaz but also silver as well, and all the resources of a lower level: iron, tin, copper, and it's a resource rating of 4. I procced a common pick, not as good as a rare or a legendary one, but hey, better than a worn version, I suppose. Now, on a tier 1 world, I found that if you discovered a tin vein on its own that wasn't attached to copper, then that tin vein would have some sort of gem attached to it. And more often than not, for me, that actually turned out to be topaz, which was quite convenient. But if I moved over to the tier 2 world, then not only did I discover topaz veins just lying out in the open, but I also found them in a lot more abundance attached to other metals as well. So there's a couple of methods to get both your iron ore and your topaz that can involve both tier 1 and tier 2 worlds. Thankfully though, you only need 10 topaz to create the selection tool, so you won't be out in the world for long trying to find any. Once you've done that, go to your nearest forge, bring up the recipes, and go down to the building tools section, and it's the one right at the top. I've got plenty of mats, so I'll simply hit craft. So even before we've put a single solitary stone down in our claim, we have created the selection tool, which is going to make building unbelievably more easy, and we've also got the 4th tier of pick. We've gone from the stone pick to the copper pick to the bronze pick, and finally to the iron pick, which will allow us to get a lot more crafting materials to start our building process. So there we go. Even before we've done anything, we're off to a belting start with what we can do within EverQuest Next Landmark. And I hope you've enjoyed the vid. Please do like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook and also twitch.tv/heel versus babyface for live streaming. And I shall be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.